What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of Ben There Doing That podcast, where we are still figuring out how to introduce this show. It's your host, Ben Yurcisin, and today we got our first guest, awesome legendary artist, and my good friend, Mark Braham.
What up?
We're out here in Philadelphia. I'm so stoked about this. You know, we're just kicking this off, figuring things out.
It's been a fucking great hang so far, man.
It's been fantastic. And for those tuning in, the goal with this podcast is to interview entrepreneurs, artists, creatives, and just get the insights of how people got to where they are in life and where they're going. So I want to talk to Mark about art, music, and all things fun and awesome. Before that, I want to remind you, we started a podcast. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like maybe right before COVID.
Time heard.
I was trying to think of it. I couldn't hear. Yeah. So we were. What did we talk about? We talked about the old school emo days of music and just.
Yeah, I think the goal of that podcast was more or less to dive into like your favorite live concert experiences or like pivotal moments in time that a genre or an album might have affected you. Given the timing was so bad because couldn't guess.
Yeah, exactly. It was right before COVID.
To actually gain the information.
But you know what? We did record episode 1. We got to dig that up because you know what? That kind of ties into the last theme of just take action. We just set up the phone on like the table. We just started talking.
Oh, so crude in your fucking 45 Park Lane apartment.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but people just got to start doing stuff. We at least just do stuff.
Like we got see what's going on. He's got gear. He's got a tripod.
I don't know if you can see our fuzzy wuzzies. You know, I'm gonna make Mark scream into this at some point in this episode. We're gonna get there. He says he's not.
We're in a very community-driven park right across the street from my house. Not the place.
But I don't live here. Remember that.
Place,
I don't live here. This does not directly impact my life, and I believe this is called the Ben There Doing That podcast.
This is a hell of a way to treat your first guest.
Well, listen, but I'm so happy to have you here. As we're saying, oh shit.
Well,
I think I broke the chair.
Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches.
Let's roll with this. So that's a great segue. Let's I'd love to give a little background about yourself, you know, because obviously I know you. We hang out all the time. I love what you're doing. I see your tattoos every day. You were just crushing it over the past 5+ years. You just get better and better, and your work blows me away. Why don't you just give a little high level, who's Mark, where are you from, what brought you here, and we'll take it from there.
Well, my name's Mark. I grew up in the Lehigh Valley. I'd say a little quadrant of eastern Pennsylvania. About an hour and a half north, depending on where you're going to, from this fine city of Philadelphia. And are you looking more coming up in the tattoo world?
Yeah, I mean, let's just say, like, all right, you love art, you love music. Why don't you talk about your roots in both of those things?
Sure,
let's start there,
sure.
Both of those things.
My dad definitely gave me the gift of artistry. He just kind of laid the foundation on how to draw at a very young age. I can't even really tell you how old I was. I'm somewhere between like 3 and 5 years old, let's say. And I mean, back in the day, man, I would draw anything from nature. I grew up in a very like woodsy environment. So landscape stuff all the way to my favorite pro wrestlers at the time. You know, like
pro wrestling was the best.
My mom's got a hope chest full of some very young, like, you know.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite wrestler?
Who's my favorite wrestler of all time? It's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's a good one.
I mean, we're talking about the guy who defined the industry. He completely changed what the WWE is.
Mine might be Mankind and the whole McFoley thing, but we'll get into wrestler as we go. We can talk about that. Could be a whole episode.
No, that's gotta.
That would be a whole episode.
But yeah, man, just from a very early age, got hooked into drawing. It was never something that I set aside time for or like made a point to even get better at or practice at. I just
whenever you're feeling it, you just start sketching.
Yeah, it was, you know, the equivalent of somebody picking up a basketball or, you know, whatever. It just kind of hooked me. So that's been with me since I can't even remember when. I've never remembered my life without it.
And you had supportive parents along the way. They were always kind of pushing you to. That makes a whole difference, man. That's
it really does.
It's great to have a support system, whether it's your family or not. Just someone who believes in you and like pushes you to keep doing the thing is so huge.
Yeah, and also like not even the support, but the like sometimes I guess parents kind of they play the game with the kid of inspiring them and like also giving them positive anecdotes to like keep going with something. But my parents very much saw what I was doing and was like, like you have something.
You're like, actually, this is good.
Don't not do this.
Don't go play baseball. It's
Well,
time to do art.
I did play baseball.
Well, it all worked
I
out,
did
didn't
play
it?
baseball.
Of course you did.
Yeah, but yeah. As far as music goes, always loved music, but I think playing music kind of entered my life around 13, something like that. Parents got me my first guitar.
Same. The games. Do you get some lessons, or you just self-taught?
Got some lessons.
Yeah, you gotta get the foundational.
Yeah. At first, it was very much let's see if he keeps going back to this thing type of deal for, I don't know, maybe the first couple of months. Then it was dive into lessons, very rudimentary. You know, we're learning sheet music, we're learning simple songs like When the Saints Come Marching In and blah, 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 blah. My guitar instructor, Jerry Pandalios, I remember it was, I want to say like maybe a month into lessons, and granted I only saw him once a week, so let's say like the 4th lesson or something. And he would always give me like little assignments, like try to learn this song out of the book, or maybe get your hand more comfortable with trying to make a certain chord. When I see you next, I want to see how well you can play or read this music, or how quickly your hand can shift to a chord.
Right. You gotta get those fingers strong. At first, it hurts your fingers. You get dents in them. That whole thing. I remember that when I was starting off. Blisters. You gotta earn the righteousness of a guitar shred.
It hurts.
It hurts bad.
It genuinely
Even
hurts.
to this day, when I don't play for a while, and I play it again, I'm like, ow, my fingers. You know.
Yeah, man. But that was a similar thing with the drawing. Like something just clicked. You know, I wasn't like immediately phenomenal by any means, but I was building speed. I was building comfortability on the neck, and that was another thing that without much trying at all, it just took over my every second that I wasn't at school or hanging out with friends or something else didn't need to get done. I was fucking playing my guitar.
Sick.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people do art when they're kids, and then they just kind of like, all right, that was a cool hobby. They move on to get careers. They just go on to do a 9-to-5 and just move forward and just think that's just a dream. I can't do art for a living. That's kind of crazy, which nowadays in this day and age it's become more of like a mainstream thing, but when you're a kid it's like, oh, be a doctor or an engineer, a scientist. So did you know when you were starting drawing and you were kind of improving and pretty skilled at it, did you know that this is what you're going to do for your whole life? When did you know that, if you didn't know then?
I don't think that I knew from jump that, especially from jump, that I would be tattooing. That came later once I started getting tattooed and getting more exposed into the industry.
Hurts a lot.
Oh, a ton.
Torturous.
It's never fun. Well, it's fun. It's humbling. It's humbling.
It's fun to have tattoos. I hate getting tattoos.
I like getting tattooed.
I don't.
It's, again, in one word, not to ramble on, it's a very humbling experience.
Yeah,
you get to kind of check in with yourself mentally and physically, walk away with a nice new badge to remember whatever that particular experience was.
Mark humbled my ribs for 21 hours, so that was certainly a humbling experience.
I did. My first freehead full color piece, so thanks for riding the rails with that one for me.
Sick. Well, that was back in your early days, so we got to do it once over now that you're more advanced.
Fucking A.
So back to when you knew this was going to be your path.
I think still from a relatively early age, I knew that I wasn't going to be the first thing that you said. This is the job you're expected to get, or the telltale formula of like, we go to college, we get good grades, we find a stable career, blah, 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 blah. I've always had not a degenerate in like a corruptive, fuck all mindset,
Right,
but like a very
misfits, kind of the outcast,
very counterculture type of mindset towards everything about my life. So I knew from a very early age that I was not going to be a desk jockey doing some 9-to-5 shit. I was going to find a way to do whatever. And I guess along the way, like being a kid, you work a shitload of odd jobs, or at least I worked a shitload of odd jobs.
What are some of the jobs you banged out?
I've done, my first job was busing at Red Robin, escalated to a waiter there, and then I remember I went away to school for my first year and just never came back. I set up like huge party tents with this guy in New Jersey for a summer. I cut greens at a country club. I valeted cars in Center City, Philadelphia. Like I've done
anything that I could just to monopolize my time and get a paycheck while still in the background working towards the things that I genuinely wanted to do.
Did you think you might end up going further in any of these industries, or in your head was that
Absolutely not.
always just like a job and you kind of were just doing the thing you're passionate about? And
Simply a means to an end. Because
Right.
at that time, like, I was either in high school, so A, going to school, and B, didn't have the wherewithal to start creating a career. Like, I'm not thinking about that, you know, at 16, 18, I was thinking about playing shows with my friends, hanging out, you know, just having a good time. And also just being pretty ignorant on like the grander scope of life, you know?
Yeah, true.
It
I
was
mean,
very day to day. I wasn't future planning by any means.
simpler days, right?
Oh, simpler times,
sometimes
man.
it's good, but I mean, listen, as you get older, you start, you know, life goes by faster, and you start thinking like, all right, where am I going with this? And I mean, you've worked a lot of odd jobs. I've worked different like internships, and a lot of those were corporate desk cubicle jobs. And the first one, I was like, I don't fucking like this at all. And the lady's like, how'd you like your experience? I was like, yeah, it's good. She's like, oh, that's funny, because some people don't like this life. And in my head, I'm like, I hate this. I just won't tell you, but this is miserable.
Yeah,
I'm like, maybe it's just this job.
I'm being kind to you.
So I tried another job, and I realized sitting there at a desk and then just like reporting to a boss, doing something I'm not passionate about. I've tried it. I thought maybe this is just the way, maybe we have to do this. But then I was like, there's no fucking way. And hey, for some people, if you're fulfilled, then I won't tell you to change shit.
Absolutely.
All I'll tell people is, if you're not fulfilled, get the fuck out of there. Find another path, because
Could not agree more.
life is too short, and you don't want to be in your deathbed thinking, I just did this thing
Right.
because I had to. The society made me. No one's making you.
Well,
It's
like,
just you got to go against the mold.
That's like the falsehood of society, and like to a degree how we're raised. Like people, kids or adolescents, for example, who might have this kind of counterculture idea of how they want to live their life, or people who might take a risk or might kind of put all of their eggs into a very like, this is going to take work and also isn't necessarily lucrative basket.
Right.
Those kind of people at that age are told by every adult around them, like, you got to think about your future, you know, you got to plan for stability.
A lot of kids have parents that put the pressure on them too.
That's yeah. So I know plenty of people that I went to school with who did what I did, and they were phenomenal painters or glass blowers or what have you, and they're a fucking barista at a coffee shop now.
Such
because
a shame and a waste of talent.
They didn't do it. And I have a bunch of friends who went to, you know, business school, got their doctorate, they're making buku bucks, and they're still just like, yeah, I have tons of money, or I have a
They have a ton of
house.
buku bucks.
They have a ton of buku bucks. But like they have all of those things. They have all those comforting things that everyone told them was going to lend happiness. But now they're worn out. They don't like what they do. Sure, they have money. Sure, they have things. Sure, they have security. But they're still unfulfilled in not doing what they really wanted to do.
100%. Do you ever think about, like, what if Dio or like Freddie Mercury or Jim Carrey, what if they were working at McDonald's or something? Like, what if there's so many, it's sad to think about, because you're like, yo, those people are so talented. They belong in front of people, spreading their gift to the world. Now, I think about, there's a ton of people with that potential working at McDonald's, working at Starbucks, and they're like secretly so talented and amazing and could change the world, but they're in their own way, and they just get in this comfortable style and they don't break past it. That's why, this is one of the reasons why I want to like have this podcast and even just share the message of do what you love. And that you're an embodiment of that, because, you know, you didn't go get a job, you worked some odd jobs, but then you're ultimately doing what makes you happy and what you're passionate about.
Yeah. And to further that point, in order for me to do that, I then threw myself into a career where for the first, I mean, on paper, depending on how you go about this, every apprenticeship is different. Everybody has a different story. I had what you would call a very old school apprenticeship. So I made no money for a long time.
How did you live? You got some support?
With my parents.
Yeah. Honestly, it's what's got to be done sometimes. With my parents. I lived at home.
Yeah. Just literally didn't do shit. I woke up, whatever had to be done at the house that morning got done, and then I fucked off to the shop for 12, 14 hours, came home, studied, did some, side shit, whatever.
So to this point, all right, so let's go to the beginning of you in the tattooing world. Take us there. How did you, like, from artist to tattoo artist, where did that transition begin, and what steps did you take to get yourself in that world?
Okay. That all began just when I started getting tattooed. Got my first tattoo at 18, and the shop and artist who gave me my first tattoo became my mentor, and then where I began my whole tattoo journey. But just the moment I got it and the moment I started hanging out amidst that crowd and in that environment, it just got its hooks in me. It was totally bitten. So really enjoyed it. Didn't really think at first like, oh wow, this is like something that I want to do. I was just kind of soaking it in,
checking
really,
it out,
really enjoying the time.
Right.
And then the more that I kept getting tattooed, and the more that I wouldn't necessarily like show up to an appointment with like a drawing of, hey, this is what I want, put it on my body. But I would show up with like a map or like a general idea of what I was thinking.
Concepts.
Very loose, just to kind of give Jesse an idea. Jesse's my mentor. We'll get detailed. But then over time, he was just kind of like, hey, you kind of got an eye for this. Like, your art's good. You've been drawing in a box on paper for so long. So kind of got to curb how you think about three-dimensional elements, body shape, stuff like that. But your artistry is good. So if this is something that you're interested in, come on down, man.
At that moment, you're like, I'm either going in on this or I'm finding another path. But you decided, you're like, I'm going in, right?
Well, he had told me this right around when I had started college. And he's tattooed half of my torso over the years. So I've spent a lot of time with the man, even up until becoming a tattoo artist. So he knew a lot of the ins and outs of my life and kind of like what I was doing, what I was up to. So he basically said, after you're done with school, if this is something that you're still interested in, doors open for you.
You got a job here, sort of thing.
And of course, I kept getting tattooed over the course of my college career. And the moment that I got done, I think I spent a couple months just like couch surfing down here in the city, still working the valet job that I had, just to decompress a little bit and kind of enjoy the summer.
Right.
And then the moment that fall hit, moved back up to the valley, January 12th, 2015. That was my first day apprenticing.
Really? Oh, you're almost up on 10 years now tattooing.
10 years since I began my apprenticeship. The first tattoo I ever did was April 26th of that year. And then about a calendar year after that is when it was like, your apprenticeship is fulfilled. You can start actually tattooing clients and not just like fucking up your friends.
Right.
So I would say as of April 26th, which is like, a week away.
Yeah.
That'll mark 8 years professionally tattooing, 9 years like in the industry.
Right. Damn, that's so you've, and I mean, let's talk about progression and growth for a second, because I've seen your early work and I see your work now. I mean, you always were good. But dude, the shit you put out now is just next level. I would say, like, just as someone who follows tattoos and that industry, like, I consider you one of the top tier motherfuckers in this thing.
That means a lot.
Your details are just unbelievable. So just any insight you could share on like how you honed in and really just like started mastering that craft and like getting so goddamn good. I don't know. You got to check out his Instagram, because there's so many like what that looks like 3D things. I'm like, it looks like a real image I'm looking at, but you just like freehand that shit. I don't know how it's done.
Two words, and we'll go deeper.
Hard work.
No. No. Failure.
That's one word, bro.
Straight up failure and obsession.
Failure and obsession. That's literally the title of this episode now.
Done.
Dude, failure and obsession. That's seriously, I couldn't have put it better myself as far as getting anywhere in life. Failure and obsession.
Failure and obsession.
That's huge.
Tattooing to me is a sickness that I never want to cut out.
True.
Like it is inside of me, man. And just all of the weight that it carries, to where you're producing a product on your own. you're the captain, first mate, and everything else of this ship. All the while, there's a consequence on the other end where you're affecting
permanent.
a permanent consequence on the other end where you're affecting another person, and you're affecting a person in the moment of tattooing them,
and the rest of their life after that, and then the remainder of their days.
Yeah, like it runs so deep, man. So I think once I got the full scope of like what this industry is and how many different levels there are to it, my level for respect for this industry is bar none. Like, don't step on anybody's toes here, you know.
Right.
Don't disrespect important crafts or important steps of this industry.
You gotta have a ton of self-confidence in, like, to believe in yourself to go for that and actually just be like, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fuck their body up. So I mean, you said failures, which everyone has to fail to get to where they want in life, but with tattooing, that there's like a small margin for error there, because failing means fucking someone's body up. Do you have any that stick out that you can share?
Well, I mean, what you just said, flip that on its head, because in the beginning, you have to remind yourself that you're going to fuck this up.
Hopefully on your friends and not strangers, right?
You know, exactly. And there's varying degrees to that, but you know, nobody starts this and lays down a like, hey, that was actually pretty good for the first time. It just it doesn't happen. You know, there's going to be something that could either be fixed or might be like hey, that's kind of just fucked forever. You know?
You're like, sorry, you don't have to pay me.
It's one of the two.
Damn.
And thank God I've had plenty of really, really good friends who have let me put some questionable shit on.
Do you have any you can share? Do you have one that's like, this stands out as like a fucked up one? You're like, I'm sorry. You can do a public apology here on the podcast.
I don't know, man. Like, to be honest, one in particular that I'm like extraordinarily bummed about.
Oh shit.
I can't really highlight one of those, but I will highlight two people in particular, and that's my buddy Max and my buddy Mike. And both of them have lent me a lot of space on their body in the beginning stages, and it's not like I'm looking at, you know, a piece. I'm looking at a limb, like half of a limb, where I'm just like, God damn it.
Damn, this is a problem.
Yeah, my buddy Mike in particular, I tattoo him for free anytime I see him now.
Because of the dues he paid?
He's giving me so much skin, man.
He's got skin in the game, baby.
There's no rhyme or reason to what's on his body.
It's like, a penguin and a potato and a frying pan and a monkey tree.
I don't know what I was thinking.
You weren't thinking. You were learning. You were obsessing and failing.
Fucking A right. Absolutely.
So that's your nitty gritty early days, and then you glam. What do they say? Glam up. What do the kids say these days?
Something.
You've glammed.
Something.
You've glammed like your way to some awards.
I ate it up.
You ate it up, and you got some awards, right? You're at some conventions. They even had you voting. Like, talking about some of your accolades, bro. Like, you're really proud of you for all that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I wouldn't necessarily call those accolades.
I would. Humble man.
It's really cool to like get a trophy for something that you've done at a convention. I would say, to highlight that subject, my proudest one that I've gotten is second place second place best of show at the Philadelphia Villain Arts Tattoo Convention. And
that's sick.
That one, that's probably the only one that I will not out loud, but in my heart, like, gloat about. Hold on a pedestal.
You should be proud, because you came from so far. You got it.
I am proud of all of the trophies or awards or accolades that I've got. I'm personally very proud of them, but that one I do kind of puff my chest out a little bit, just because it's the biggest per capita convention in the world. Granted, it's not to say that every single artist there, which at any given year could be somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 artists.
Damn.
It's massive. It's absolutely massive. So granted, not every single one of those people are entering a contest like that, but you're still going up against a lot of people I think the year that I entered, there was 50 some odd entries, and these people are from everywhere. There's people from every state in the US, people from outside of the country, and you're just standing next to absolutely phenomenal work. It's one of those, like when you go up to get judged, everybody for the category is all kind of hanging out. So it's this weird little exchange where like us as artists are now standing with our clients and like chatting with another artist, but about the piece that's actively right in front of us in real time. And we're kind of like comparing notes and asking questions and, you know, how much time, what machine, what ink, the process, all these different things. And then after that, everybody just kind of stands back.
You're like, please,
and goes like that.
Were you shocked, or did you feel like you kind of had something?
It was one of those moments where like a grenade went off.
You're like,
you know,
what?
Like at that year, sometimes they run it where there's third place through first, depending on how big the entry list is. Sometimes they run it fifth place up until first. That year, I don't know if it was an entry level thing or if it was a time sensitive thing, but they did 3 spots. So they called third place, and I didn't expect anything, because again, I'm looking around at all these other pieces around me and I'm just like, there's some fucking bonkers work here.
Right.
But then the way that Carl does it anyway, he calls the number, because everybody who goes up obviously gets dealt a number, so it's anonymous. Nobody knows, like the judges anyway don't know the artist or the shop or anything. You're just a number with a tattoo. So they called the number, and my brain was like, huh?
I think that might be my number.
And start saying my name, and it's, again, grenade factor. Like, I just kind of went deaf, and, you know, everybody who was around me is, like, just silently, like, to me anyway, like,
yeah, Mark!
And I'm just like, no fucking way, dude. Yeah, pretty cool. Beyond that one, you know, I've gotten a slew of healed work accolades, been featured on a couple of, you know, social media pages here and there, a couple add-ins and different conventions. When we did the Miami convention, I was asked to do a judging with my current boss, Mike Chambers, and the forerunner of Sullen Clothing Company, Uncle Jeremy, which was another just unexpected thing. I didn't know I was doing that.
You're just up there. You're starting to be like with the people you look up to. You're starting to be like side by side with them.
And
you know?
I think like that one in particular, even though like I was just judging and it was a fun thing to do, I would by no means hold that to like an accolade standard. But
it's still, I mean, it's still in your heart. Like, you think about the failures and the obsession, like we talk about. We focus on the failures, but things like that, you got to cherish that as a win and like reflect on that and like, yo, I earned my way here.
It's 100% a win. And again, I don't mean to diminish something like that by saying it's not an accolade.
Right.
Like, but that to me is a realization of like everything that I've wanted to be a part of in this industry, it's happening.
Right.
So instead of me getting like formally asked to do something like that and me like having it in my head that it's going to happen, building up to the moment, that was a moment of me just feeling like a peer. Like a friend, just a normal guy to these people. Because again, I didn't know it was happening. I was actually standing outside of the convention center with my client, just having a cigarette. And Mike calls me and was like, "Yo,
you're a judge. Get out in here.
This contest. We need you here in like 5 minutes." I'm like, "Okay, man."
Running in.
And then in that moment, like, sitting there up on stage, and especially when like you go up there, the guy Emilio who was running the contest is like announcing all the judges and stuff. And again, it's the same idea of like whoever runs Nike. Let's say like Michael Jordan got up. Uncle Jeremy and Sullen Clothing Company is like an apparel brand in the tattoo industry where like you probably know who this guy is.
Right.
Mike Chambers, world-renowned traditional tattoo artist, an amazing story, an amazing guy, and just a titan in like that field of the industry. If you know what traditional tattooing is, especially in today's day and age, you probably know who this guy is. And then there's me.
Next to him.
And when my name gets called, the consensus of the room is like, Who?
Who the fuck is Mark?
Yeah. And then
You're like, I'm going to tell you, mofos. I'm coming in.
But then in my head, I'm having like, you know, I went from, again, feeling like a peer and feeling like a friend 5 minutes ago out there when I got the call.
Get a little imposter syndrome.
Now I'm 100% imposter syndrome.
That
Now I'm
happens.
sitting up there and I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing next to these
Why am I
guys?
here? Guys, you want me
Telling
to go in
these
there?
people
Should
like,
I get
what's
you,
good and
Should I
not-
get you a coffee? Do you guys
Yeah.
want a coffee? Water?
Yeah.
You a seltzer?
Yeah, but to your point, it's important in those moments to maybe have that vulnerability and have that humbling moment, but not live in it, you know, because I've worked my ass off to get to where I'm at, and I have been in this industry for not a long time by the standards of, you know, people who have come before me, but still, I live, eat, breathe this industry. So for
Right,
a
so you've
moment like
earned it.
that, it's like, yeah, I'm not the intern getting coffee anymore. I'm a guy sitting next to these normal guys that everybody else puts on a pedestal for what they do and what they've done, rightfully fucking so. But at the end of the day, we're just
We're
a
people.
couple of dudes,
So we're
man.
just-
We're
we're
just a
just
couple
guys
of
up
guys
here, yeah.
hanging out.
So, do you ever get that's first of all, awesome. I love that. Just, you know, got to celebrate the wins. And when you do put in the work and you don't give up, like, good shit eventually happens.
Fuck yeah.
Do you ever get, this has happened to me from experience, like, where you're eating shit and failing for so long, and maybe you haven't had, like, the eat shit failure as much, but, like, I've had, like, you know, you've been there by my side. Like,
Yeah,
I've had
man.
multiple years of this entrepreneurial thing where I'm just going for it, making no money, just, like, fucking up, failing. Then I'm getting close, and then something happens, I fail. And not being victim at all, but it's just,
No,
this
no.
is just the course of what
That's
happened.
the
And I
fact.
kept failing, and I failed, and then I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But even with that, you know, sometimes you get knocked in your ass. You got to take a step back, maybe reset, like recalibrate. But then I always made sure just keep going, because now if I give up, now it's been a waste of my time.
Exactly.
I got to make this not for nothing.
Exactly.
But then when the goodness finally comes, which we just talked earlier, like good things are starting to happen. Like I paid my dues and like worked really hard. Like you said, obsession, failure,
Yep.
just going for it. The good thing starts happening. Sometimes in my head, and tell me if you ever get this, I like almost self-sabotage, or I'm like, no, this can't be working, and you almost want to like justify that, no, I don't deserve this, or something like that, which is bullshit.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Because we fucking deserve it. But so, and I think a lot of people do that too when they get close to the sun, to what they really want in life. Maybe people are getting ready to launch that business they thought about, or they get right there and they go, no, I shouldn't be up on the stage with all these awesome people, and then they sabotage. Luckily, I recognize that and have self-awareness and kind of like can move past it, but still, that it creeps up sometimes where I'm like, I don't think I deserve this.
Absolutely.
Does that happen? Do you get that sometimes? And how do you kind of work through that?
Moments like that, I try to, in the moment of it happening, I try to just check in with myself with some of those cornerstones that I've already covered, in a lot more condensed sense, but just reminding myself that I am this person and I do deserve these things.
Worked
And
hard many years.
I've worked
you know?
hard many years, and there's no reason at all why I should pigeonhole myself anymore for my worth.
Right.
'Cause I know what I'm worth. And if you're not in the market, the budget, the whatever for that, that's absolutely fine.
There's other people you could go to. You know,
Right.
let me know if it ever
Right.
works out.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I find myself in that demographic anymore is just from a monetary standpoint. I've gotten very, very good at not doing that with really any other category when it comes to tattooing. Maybe still a bit with, like, if we're talking the accolades, I do still suffer a bit from maybe not I don't deserve this, but
Little
just
imposter syndrome.
imposter
All the
syndrome.
greats
just
have
like,
that,
just
by the
like
way.
just like a how, or like why me? But then
Then you actually zoom out and reflect on your path. You're like, wait, that's why me.
Exactly,
That's
because,
why me.
you know, 8 years ago, when I was tattooing for 10 hours a day, making $200 a day,
Right.
by the time that that's all said and done and you pay the shop out making $100 a day, I would go home and look at the people that I would look up to and then start getting tattooed by the people I look up to, paying the kind of money that it takes to get these pieces, and go, one day, man.
You're like, if they could
Like,
charge this,
yeah,
I could charge
is
this
that,
one
like,
day.
One day, I can't wait to have that security, that stability.
It got you thinking bigger.
Exactly.
And that's what happened with me and Frank, my mentor. Like I used to be scared to like charge $2,500 or $5,000 to build a website, which was at the time like common price. I was like, it should be like $1,000.
Right.
I was thinking small, scared to think big, and just being around Frank, he helps me to be like, Ben, no, we're not in pizza zone anymore.
Yeah.
He calls it pizza zone because you get a dollar slice of pizza, that's all you can afford. No. So it's good to be around people where you're like, wait, we could think bigger, we could dream bigger than this. We don't need to be in this little box of I only deserve this much.
Absolutely.
What you deserve and what you get in life is just how big you can dream and
So
shoot
true.
for. You know?
So true. Yeah, you're 100% right, and that is again the monetary portion. That's
Right.
something that I'm humbled with, not every day necessarily, but there are times where, let's say I complete a piece or I complete like what I quantify as a session, and I look at the clock and I remember the amount of time that I used to work for significantly less money.
Right.
And now I'm getting put a great deal of money in my hand. And there
For
are
less
moments
time.
like that where I'm looking at my client and I'm just like, I feel like I'm fucking robbing you.
But they're stoked to give it to you.
They're
They're like,
so
let give
stoked,
more.
yeah, and like you're right, and we talked about it beforehand. They know.
You're like, it's in a group. You're not
They
sneaking
know.
them with anything. It's like
I didn't blindside them or nothing.
I know the feeling, though,
We
bro. I
all
know the
agree, but
feeling.
every now and then it creeps up, or I'll look at like a week that I had, and how my portfolio looks and how my funds look, and I'm just like, God, man, like, how the fuck did we get here?
you're like, this is working.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
working.
Yeah, it's wild, and it never fucking stops. That's the craziest part about it. Like, it's like a new evolution. I
You
don't
can't
know.
get comfy. Like, even if you're awesome at something, there's always new things to learn and new.
Oh my God,
You
yeah.
got to stay, because otherwise, even if you get great, then you're still plateaued and then things get boring. So it's
Exactly.
even now about getting innovative or like trying different things.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, that's a great segue. I'm going to shift now from art to music, because you love music. You've always loved music. You've been in bands back in the day, and you've always had the passion for playing shows and writing music, right? So in the same vein of, hey, not just getting comfy because now you're really good at tattooing,
Right.
you were like, I want to make music again. This is where First Watch was born.
Yep.
Also, before First Watch, you and I made a couple real songs.
We did make exactly 4 real songs.
We made 4 real songs.
4 real
Check
songs.
out all of those real songs. They're real.
You posted them?
They're somewhere. I'll put them in the show notes of the podcast.
I think they're on like your SoundCloud or something.
They got to be on my
That's about
SoundCloud.
it.
You know what's on my SoundCloud for sure, which I'm going to definitely put in the show notes? You know what's on there. Quarantine.
That's our worst one.
That's really good.
That's our worst one.
It's a good. Oh, how does the chorus go?
Here's why.
How does it? No, it's a good one.
No, here's why it's the worst one. Because I'm bashful that it's our only song where my voice is on it. Every other song is me doing some slick little guitar jammy jams, and you're just having this stream of nonsense.
I'm just usually freestyle nothingness.
It's brilliant.
Those I
You
actually
gotta-
can't
you gotta
share with
check
you.
it
They're
out.
quite inappropriate. If you DM me, that's the only way you get those songs, and I'll gauge if you can have them. But but Quarantine is great, and that was actually like Mark came over from Philly to Jersey City. It was definitely like the final week where people were like,
It was
the world was
it
shutting
the
down,
last chance.
and we got with the taqueria that day.
I remember the day that I left. I got you know how like you get like an Amber Alert or like a flood watch warning. I got
Yeah.
a notice on my phone that they were closing the fucking highway.
Oh shit!
So
Like, I think
was
something
like,
real's happening.
I have to go back.
And then Mark is at my place, and I'm like, all right, I think a lot of things are going bad in the world. Let's make a song about this.
Yeah.
So we made a song called Quarantined. Dig it? What's that? I'm quarantined. It's in the show notes, everyone.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's a good one. So we made a couple songs. I'm going to get back to First Watch, don't worry. But I thought they should know we make music.
We collectively make music.
There was the
It's really silly.
okay,
stuff.
just in a nutshell, we have the 4 real songs, which are all instrumental. Then we have the full course meal, the 3-course meal, which is the ones where I'm singing nonsense. We got like turkey
True.
and cheese, or like a what are those songs called? There's like turkey.
It's oh god.
Come on.
Oh
Oh man,
dude.
man.
No, what's the my favorite one, bar none, is the one we did on
In London?
No. That one was good.
That was a good one.
That one was good. That was
oh, the one on your balcony when I was getting real loud?
The South Street apartment, man.
Oh.
That's a good song.
That's really
it
good.
doesn't, it's not a good song.
Is that when I said brothers, mothers, sisters, uncles,
and I said, hey,
yeah,
oh, hell yeah,
motherfucker. That's
dude,
a good song, man.
That was one of the, it's a song in that we keep pace really well together. It's not about anything, but the way we were both so synced up in how this was going to build.
We knew when to pick up. We knew when to pick, and then Mark starts playing a little harder, than I get excited, so I like stand up, like yeah. We gotta do that again, man. It's been too long.
So good.
So I'll share this in the show notes. But so tell about First Watt. I think that was a COVID project that that kind of post-COVID, the bouncing the ideas back and forth, right? Because is that how it's? You tell me.
No. God, when the fuck?
Because it started with you sending clips of a guitar bit, he would send it back with the drums over it, and you did like that whole system.
No, so that was COVID times, but we had started playing again well before that.
Got it. Okay.
Little bit of backstory. First Watch, my current band, current music project, with my longtime, God, I've known this guy for 25 years, something like that. Davey Miller, Davey Crash and Blast Crockett, one of the most profound drummers out there, period. He's phenomenal. But we just kind of rekindled after college. And it wasn't like let's make a band or, let's start writing per se again. It was just we kind of fell off for no one reason or another. Just, college days pulled us apart. And then we kind of rekindled our friendship. And then we kind of started playing music again. And I think we just kind of realized at one point, like, hey, we've got a few songs.
And they're good.
And they're good. So we thought. So we think.
They are. Confirmed.
Thank you. But then that's when it was like, hey, let's call this a band. Let's try to put together an album. Let's try to bring in some other people. All of those things came to fruition besides the bring in other people part.
Who needs other people when you got a buddy?
I would like some more people.
Yeah. Well,
I got a lot on my
shoulders. If you need a freestyle rapper, dude, I'm your guy.
Heard. But yeah, that was kind of a slow burn. It wasn't anything, again, that we took seriously or we said we're a band again, let's try to make it, let's try to play shows or anything. We were just having fun again. Then when it got to the point that we had a number of songs, we were like, well, we might as well put this together as an album. And then we started getting artsy with it. Then we, started dipping our toes into playing some shows together again. And also figuring out how to make that work as a two-piece, because through asking around and trying a handful of people out, one of my buddies, Ryan, was screaming with us for a while.
I remember that.
I don't even really remember why that fizzled out. It just kind of did. Again, no bad blood or anything. He's about to be my fucking brother-in-law at the rate that we're going.
Sick.
So yeah, all love there. But it just kind of came back to a place where it was Davey and I. And we'd write songs very rudimentally, just guitar and drums. And then I would build another guitar part, a bass part. There's been a handful of songs that Davey's written lyrics for, I've written lyrics for. But all the while, I was also trying to build my screaming chops back up. And then the moment that I thought that I did that anyway, I just ripped it over a couple of our songs. And we were like, this fits the vibe, it sounds good, so I might as well fucking do that too. Met a gentleman by the name of Rob Everetts. He's back up my way in the Lehigh Valley. And he found me at the time, which I'm trying to get better at. I've been dog shit with social media as it's been lately.
It's tough to stay on top of it. That's kind of why I started the podcast. So I got to stay clips of this. Yeah. That's my content.
Yeah, but
among many other reasons.
I used to have a pretty steady blend on, my Facebook, Instagram, what have you, of tattoos, but also just videos of me screaming or little guitar playthroughs, whether I'm playing my own music or screaming or playing along to another song.
Right.
Kind of cover level shit. it was a little bit more versed, and then I don't know, maybe 2 or some odd years ago, I kind of fell off, and it's just been like posting tattoos and pretty A to B process there. So I'm trying to get back into actually sharing what's going on.
Why don't you scream into the mic right now? Let's see how it works.
I can't.
You can.
I just can't.
It's the Ben there doing that podcast.
I just can't do it, and there's 2 reasons why I can't do it. One, there are people all around.
Is there? Oh, I guess there's a couple of them.
There's quite a few.
There's a few people.
Maybe not in the frame, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and secondly, I haven't screamed all day, so there's no shot that I'm going to rip that right now.
On episode 2 of the podcast. You're the first guest.
I'm the first guest.
Do you want to be the first guest who screams bad?
No!
Yes, we got him. Yeah. Sick.
That was also bad, by the way. Don't judge me on that.
Yeah. If you want to judge his screaming, which is awesome, go listen to the First Watch album. And then you got a good taste of what the goodness is.
It's called A Perfect Place for Tragedy. We released it on all major streaming platforms. I don't know, like 2 years ago now.
Yeah,
something like
2 or 3 years.
I think it was Halloween of 2022, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. And we also just wrapped up finalizing the songs for an upcoming EP. Cannot give you a timeline on that because we got to record the damn thing yet. But yeah, we'll have a couple more songs for you. I'm hoping within coming months.
Very awesome.
Something like that.
Sick,
and
dude.
Get back on the horse with the shows.
I'll be there. I'll open up the pit for you.
There we have it.
There we go. Words are tough sometimes, everybody.
It just takes a while to get
we went a clean 45 minutes without fucking up the words. I had to fuck something up.
You had to do something wrong.
Exactly. So, the great segue. Speaking of something wrong, remember Blue Ridge, dude? That was all wrong.
Oh, my God.
Mark,
That's not.
Okay, it was a rock fest that was from hell. We survived a life or death situation.
Yeah, there's too many things about that were out of anyone's control or within someone's control.
We almost tornado. We grew stronger as people and friends from that experience. I'll just leave it at that.
Absolutely. I'll leave it at that with 4 words. The James Madison Bridge.
Oh, fuck.
And y'all don't get any more context about it.
You don't get any more context.
You weren't there, and no amount of words we could say
could
make you feel what we felt.
And I'll just say this, it's good feelings.
That's
the best part. That was on our way out when there was hope again. Mm-hmm. And Mark just said that and it triggered happiness in my heart and soul. So thank you for that.
Yeah, if you're ever in the area, drive over it. See what happens.
I got a song for you. Hit me up. Oh, man. So I got a few more things here. We're coming up on time. We almost did an hour podcast already. Easy peasy. I'm definitely going to have you on again, in the next couple months when we got updates in life. Quick thing for you. Mm-hmm. So this is something that I think could tie into people who are out there. Maybe they got an idea or a dream and they want to get somewhere in life, but they feel a little stuck.
Uh-huh.
When's the time you kind of felt stuck, and how did you overcome that, and what advice do you have to those who might be feeling stuck now? I know that's like a many part question, but I'll just let you unpack that, and we'll see where we go from there.
I think the most pivotal part in this stage of my life when I had felt stuck was probably, I'll do a little Quentin Tarantino. So I moved full time to Philadelphia coming up on 2 years ago. May 6th, I think, was my start day at Seven Stars Tattoo Company. So let's say maybe a year and a half, 2 years before that, I was feeling stuck.
All right.
I was feeling stuck where I was at for a number of reasons. It felt like I myself was growing so much, but my environment kind of had me on a metaphorical leash, so to say.
Right.
And I don't.
You weren't able to break free to where you want to be in life.
It felt like a house. I made this comparison before to a number of people who knew me during that time. A house is not a home if you can't go outside.
That's Makes a lot of sense.
So that's how I felt personally. And coupled with that, I have an immense sense of like loyalty and hominess to things that I enjoy and people that I enjoy. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to betray anybody or make you feel like
you're almost putting people before yourself, sort of thing.
Correct. Well, especially when it comes to, if we're talking about the tattoo industry, I have a very like pay your dues, have respect. Don't think you're above this, that, or the any other thing. Like, don't move too fast, so to say.
Right.
Be humble. But everybody else around me in that time was asking me these questions, kind of like putting me in that next category, that next level, so to say.
Yeah, the next level.
And
2.0.
I was coming from, I suppose, a place of scarcity, where again, for me, maybe being a little timid in taking the leap or thinking that I haven't fulfilled those other things, those loyalty, time spent, respect earned, all of those things.
Almost like in your head, you're never really going to be able to go to the next, you'll never be enough to take that leap.
Right. Which, like, that's a bit of a case of imposter syndrome, and also taking otherwise good qualities and just kind of like dying on that cross to where it becomes a bit exhausting.
It becomes like good qualities you have of being so nice to everyone, where everyone likes you, but you're not happy.
Correct.
That sort of thing, where you're not putting yourself first.
That's exactly fucking right.
So how'd you bust that wall down?
I just finally started listening. Well, I really started listening to a lot of people around me who genuinely care about me and I can trust, and also have been with me to whatever degree through this process. And then just manned up.
Just did the fucking thing.
It's one of those moments where like when you're a kid and you get really excited about the opportunity to do something and you're so stoked, and then the moment you walk into like mom and dad's bedroom, you turn into a total bitch.
Yeah, you're like, excuse me, can I please, Dad said yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
it was like that. So I just had to kind of do a,
like look in the mirror, do Superman pose, be like, I am in control of my fucking life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, had a couple of hard talks, finally said some of the things that I wasn't ready to or too scared to say or whatever, and then just kind of got the ball rolling. And
difficult conversations, by the way, that people who are afraid to have difficult conversations will never get further in life. I find the only way to get where you want, you need to have tough conversations. That's relationships, that's business. Mm-hmm. If you're just avoiding confrontation, you'll never get there. So you have to, it's hard and it's never easy, but you got to practice having the difficult conversations. It's just like with mom and dad, when you got to go into the room and ask if you could sleep over Billy's house on Saturday, but mom's not a big fan of Billy. I'm like, Mom, what the fuck did Billy ever do? What the fuck did Billy ever do? You know what I'm saying?
It's not even Billy. Billy's brother is on drugs, and I don't want you in that kind of environment.
Of course we're going to smell Billy's brother's weed.
Of course we're going to smell
And we might even smoke a little bit. And we're only 6. Mom, it wasn't Billy.
Billy sounds like a fucking monster.
Billy's a fucking scumbag. So yeah. I lost our train of thought.
The hard
conversations, the tough conversations. That's where you get to where you want in life.
And to be honest, man, like that really just comes from recognizing your worth. Or
the confidence of knowing.
Or even in that moment, if you don't recognize your, let's say, and I found myself in this place before I found myself in the it's time to do the hard things place. I found myself in the floating category, where I was so independently fulfilled with what I was doing, what I was making, the ways in which I was spending my time, the people I was spending that time with, all of those XYZs, I was fine with it. But then every now and then I would have family or friends or those close people around me kind of throw some things in my ear. Not in these exact words, but to paraphrase and not fucking ramble, like, the what's next, or when are you going to, or you're capable of,
Like, hey, what's happening with that
Yeah.
thing? You're like, it's
And,
same.
I'm just like, dude,
update.
I've just been fucking doing what I love, hanging with my friends and like chilling. I'm chilling. I'm not even thinking like that right now. But then once that time ultimately passed, then I felt myself in the like, why do I have this bubble in my stomach
Right,
all
something
of the
more,
time?
right.
You know, I need it's time. It's time.
Yeah. That's
to
your
burst through.
intuition.
Yeah. Yeah, and you gotta fucking listen to
You
that,
have
man.
to, man. It's never wrong.
You got
I've learned
to.
it's literally never
what
wrong.
what was the follow-up to this topic? The like, what do you have to say to people who
who feel stuck?
Fucking that, man.
Yeah, listen to your gut. Listen to your gut,
To
dude.
your gut. It is not.
If something feels wrong, if you're around the wrong group of
not
people,
wrong,
energy
man.
suck. Yeah, it's always
God,
correct.
it's so fucking cliche to say, but god damn it, is it true?
100%.
And then also to take it back to the beginning of this, the failure obsession, like if you put yourself in those hard situations, it's not always going to work out. You might fail.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have the thick skin. You got to know you might fail and be okay with
And
that.
be okay with
If you get
it.
too attached to the successful outcome, then you're
Correct.
fucked.
And because if you're too attached to the successful outcome, then you don't have the obsession because you're in it for the wrong reason. You
Right,
know,
right.
Whatever you're doing, whether you're
For the end game, not the journey. You know.
yeah. But like again, whether you're an artist or a musician or you're climbing the corporate ladder or whatever it is that you're doing, if you're coming from a place of like deservedness, that means fucking nothing. That means absolutely nothing, because if you're just focused on, the fucking new name tag that you wear or the leveled up suit or the boost in pay or whatever, you're just chasing this vapid bullshit that in some way or another is going to come to an end physically in front of you, or even if you do attain all of those things, probably going to burn a hell of a lot of bridges, probably going to be a royal prick, no one's really going to like you, or you're just going to build up so much bad emotional karma, turn into cancer later. But like if you are obsessive because you like the thing that you're doing, and your skill set or your ability to produce or achieve whatever that thing is warrants more, now we're
Then
talking.
fucking send
Then
it.
fucking say something about it.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, I
Yeah,
deserve it.
No one
because-
owes you anything.
No.
You don't
No one
deserve
owes you
shit. No one owes you anything. You need to go out and take what you want in life, and not in a way that you fuck people over. Obviously, I don't mean.
Not in a Mongolian way.
But yeah, exactly. But you have to go do it. No one's gonna just give you. If you want that raise, if you want this new opportunity, you got to be proactive and just take it.
Yeah, but and show it.
Exactly.
You gotta show your worth. Once you've shown your worth, you show your worth. You prove your worth with consistency, and then
Do what you say you're gonna do.
Do what you say you're gonna do, and then once you've done that for enough time, that's the same thing with anything. If somebody somebody was addicted to drugs and they've been in and out of rehab 3 times over, but then the 4th time, and they go, "This is the last time," I'm gonna go, "Okay." But then if I see you a year later and you're like, "I'm clean, I'm doing good," I'm like, now that's proof.
Now you're
Now
showing
that's
me with your
proof.
actions.
And now we can move on to the worth of the next thing.
Exactly. 100%, bro. It's a great analogy. Bro, this has been an awesome conversation. Awesome first guest. So I want to start by just saying I love you, dude. I express my gratitude to you. I'm so happy we're doing this together, and
man.
I just appreciate you, man. So I want to say thank you for being on this with me.
really-
Guest number 1, dude.
I really appreciate it, dude. And thank you for having me and asking me to do this. It's a really just cool, open-ended format you got going on, and I'm excited to see who comes next.
Thanks, bro. I got 2 closer questions for you.
All right.
Best cheesesteak in Philly. I didn't send you that in the notes, bro.
We have to split that into 3 categories.
All right, let's fucking do it.
So we're gonna do the it's famous, but it's not the best category. The best, just run-of-the-mill, get it out of fucking anywhere, and then literally what is the best cheesesteak, in my humblest opinion.
Send it.
It's famous, but like there are better ones out there. Pat's King of Steaks.
Okay. After we've had, yeah, exactly. It's, like
It's right down there.
you got to check it out, but
you gotta check it out.
One time.
The winner, I wouldn't even categorize this from my undying loyalty, if we're talking about loyalty. Which
Jim's, dude. R.I.P. Jim's, bro. That's a Yurcisin. That's the Yurcisin number one.
It burnt down.
Jim's burned down. Bring back Jim's. Somebody, if you're watching this, you're loaded. Bring it back.
They're in the process of rebuilding it.
They're rebuilding it.
It's been a very, very slow burn, but there is progress.
Dude, slow burn too soon, bro.
Oh, I said it.
Oh, Mark, no.
We'll start over.
It started. The whole episode's fucked.
It's scrapped.
It's all scrapped.
It's scrapped.
Put it in the dumpster with the fire you just started. But no, Jim's for real. I know what you're gonna say next because I'm excited.
If Jim's was still real, I wouldn't have broken this into categories.
Right, just
it's
Jim's.
just the best. But again, it's famous, but it's not the best. But in this category, it is. Pat's King of Steaks. The best, like, I would never tell anyone to go to this place, but if you do go to this place, it's actually really fucking good cheesesteak.
I think I know what it is. Hopefully, it's what I'm thinking.
I'm curious to see what you say.
The sesame seed place, the pizza place with the sesame seeds of the Philly cheesesteak. What's the place called?
Okay, so
that's my number.
That's my number one.
Was that what you were gonna just say?
No, because right now we're talking about like a shitty place that if somebody came to Philly and was like, "Where's the best cheesesteak?" I would never tell them this place.
So are we not going to say it live on the podcast?
Oh, no. I'm going to say it's a fucking quick stop right down on Frankfurt Ave.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I know that's not what you're talking about.
So
we're getting there.
So now we're talking about 4 places.
No, we're talking about 3 places.
You got
Pat's King of
Jim's.
Steaks. No.
Oh, he didn't include Jim's.
He didn't include Jim's because Jim's doesn't exist. Jim's. I can't recommend something that doesn't currently exist.
You didn't include Jim's. So anyway,
it's Pat's.
How many times are you gonna say Pat's?
It's Quick Stop. Quick Stop, corner of Frankfurt and Surgeon Street, right where Fishtown meets Kensington. It's a corner market that has a kitchen in the back. And again, like,
just rules.
For a tourist who's coming to Philly, I'm not gonna be like, you gotta check out the Quick Stop.
You're the Quick Stop.
Like,
go get some gas while you're at it.
If you're in the neighborhood and you want a cheesesteak, it's fucking good, man. It's really fucking good. And the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia right now, bar none, Angelo's Pizzeria.
100%. Fully agree with that.
It's just right.
It's unbelievable. I ate a whole one. I remember I got one and I was walking and I was gonna eat outside because it was beautiful. So I sit down, I'm eating, it's big, and then this hornet is just fucking like in it and on me, and I'm like trying to enjoy it. No, it's like just like all around me, and it's like trying to get the sandwich, and it's like in my face. I'm trying to enjoy this delicious thing. The hornet is just like, and I'm like, I had to like pick up the sandwich. I was running down the street with my sandwich, like half, and I looked like a homeless guy. And I'm like, hornet. It kind of killed the experience for me,
sure.
But the taste was impeccable. Insatiable, undeniable. That's my review.
Write that down.
It's already written in the transcript. So, awesome. I love it.
That was question number 1.
And we're going to close it with this one. What's next for Mark? Where can they find you on the webs? I'll drop it in the show notes too.
Well, what's quite literally next for Mark is an ice cold beer with my bro and a really fun concert tonight.
We're seeing a Void in Philly, just a fun party metal band. That's gonna be awesome.
Silly time. No, what's next for me? Continue to grow everyday tattooing. Continue to make music. I would like to press the gas pedal down on that a little bit more,
right?
And just keep spending good, genuine time in this world, man. I'm not in a bad way. I want to say to where I'm like a fucking tyrant with no morals, but I have a very hedonistic lifestyle. I'm fortunate enough to do the things that I love to do, be surrounded by the people that I love. I don't got a whole lot of complaints, man.
That's
really chilling.
Man.
You can find First Watch PA on Instagram, First Watch on Spotify, Apple Music, all other major streaming platforms. You can find me at Mark B Tattoos on Instagram, or just Mark Braham, that's Braham on Facebook. Enjoy the fucking ride, guys.
Fuck yeah, bro. Love you, brother.
I love you, bro. It's been fun. Thanks for having me.
Got you. And just like last time.